wonderful to be here. I'm so pleased to come and meet so many of the small businesses that are here that the Canadian Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce has put together. So I really want to applaud their leadership, because what they've done here is they've convened a really extraordinary group of small businesses. I'm looking forward to talking to the businesses as part of this symposium, and really to talk to them about what it is that we are doing as a government to help small businesses in Canada.
Our chamber is building on these opportunities. We also have about 25 entrepreneurs here showcasing their products and services to the membership that is gathered. We have Federal Minister for Small Business and Export, Honorable Mary Ng, and Markham Mayor, Honorable Frank Scarpati, His Worship Frank Scarpati, who have addressed the gathering and also shared the inputs that the federal government and the municipal corporation is doing for the aid of small and medium businesses.
As you all know, SME is the backbone of the Chamber, and we are very happy and privileged to have the Federal Minister, Mary Ng, as the keynote speaker. And we also have the Mayor of Markham, Frank Scarpati, as one of the speakers. And also we are very thankful and grateful to the City of Markham for allowing us to host our symposium at the City Hall. And also we're having exhibits from our members who are SMEs and also sponsors showcasing their products and services at the symposium.
Is the President and CEO of Canada-wide Financial Corporation Limited, a multidisciplinary business advisory and management consulting firm. He is a dynamic entrepreneur, business strategist, and a highly experienced management consultant with over 3 decades of experience in founding, managing, and advising growth companies, including strategy consulting, corporate finance, audit and governance, private equity transitions, and strategic business relationships. Pramod has been active with the Chamber for nearly 2 decades. Please join me in welcoming the President of the Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce, Pramod Goyal.
The other and perhaps equally important reason for organizing this program is that in the Canadian context, immigrants turn to entrepreneurship more readily. This is because they are able to utilize their experience and acumen better in their own businesses rather than in trying to acquire the elusive Canadian experience that we all must have experienced while coming in. And out of necessity, these businesses begin and often stay small. This later reason is especially relevant to the Indo-Canadian community, of which our chamber is the largest representative for the last over 4 decades. When our chamber began in 1977, it was no more than a platform for the Indo-Canadian community to come together. But the very fact that the Indo-Canadian community's first organization was a Chamber of Commerce is an indication of the innate business orientation of the community itself. Over the last 42 years, we have constantly evolved and grown. We have retained our relevance by adopting our strategies to meet the 2 main objectives of the Chamber. The first one being to foster bilateral business relations between Canada and India, and secondly, to create opportunities for Canadian entrepreneurs to do business with India. Mayor Scarpati knows the tangible action that the Chamber takes to achieve both these objectives. He has been with 2 of our Chamber's India trade missions a few years ago. Our Chamber organizes these annual trade missions to India, which comprise of Canadian small businesses. The main purpose of these multi-city, multi-sector trade missions is to assist these small businesses and entrepreneurs explore the Indian market and help them forge linkages with Indian entrepreneurs. Friends, as you can see, our chamber continues to be the pivot around which the Indo-Canadian small business community revolves. And it's natural for us, therefore, to organize a symposium such as the one that we have this afternoon. The symposium, as Annie also mentioned, will also have 2 panel discussions. The first one being on the business growth, challenges and opportunities facing the small business. And the second one is on information technology, the role of SMBs for a level playing field, growing business through technology. We have gathered together eminent panelists who are experts in their fields, and we are grateful that the Minister has also agreed to be a panelist in the first panel. I also want to draw your attention to the expo that has been organized along with the symposium. We have about 25 exhibitors of products and services gathered today in the Civic Center, both on the upper Great Hall and the lower atrium. In one afternoon, we have both the theoretical and the practical insight into the art of doing business. I want to especially thank you all in attendance today this afternoon to have made it convenient to be here. I'm confident that your participation will enhance our program and give us the necessary impetus to continue doing this work in future as well. Thank you.
Welcome to the city of Markham. Welcome to the Markham Civic Center. And I know many of you know this already, but Markham is Canada's most diverse community. So nothing makes me happier when I see that diversity reflected in the events and the gatherings that we have here at the Civic Center. And normally I want to recognize right off the top the dignitaries in the room, but it's summer, so it'll allow me a bit more of an informal approach to this. I want to say thank you to all of you for coming out. It is still summer, and I know this year particularly we were wondering if summer was ever going to arrive. We almost booked a quick trip to India just in case it wasn't going to show up to warm things up. But thank you for coming out. It's a beautiful day out there, and I know as small businesses and others that are part of other organizations, your time commitment is always a priority. So I say thank you for coming out and being a part of this symposium. And also, after Annie announced where the cookies and coffee were, I thought we'd have a mass exodus and everyone would go to the lower level. So thank you for sticking around and at least waiting for the break to occur before that happens. I want to say thank you to President Pramod Goyal and really the team at the ICCC. This is an amazing organization that I probably have dealt with over the past 30 years, right from almost day one. Day one when I got on council and began to, as most political people do, meet people in the community. And I have to say, I remember the days when you first started the awards gala. You could fit the attendance in a very small room, probably no more than 200 or so people. And now to attend your awards gala, it is a Bollywood production. It's incredible how much it's been transformed, and wonderful to see just how many business people within the Indo-Canadian community have been successful, have contributed to our economic prosperity, and certainly to the wellness, the social well-being of many communities across the GTA and indeed Canada. And I think the ICCC is an example, a great example, of how an association can both nurture business, can support business people, can encourage more women to become business people and to ensure that they get additional support, because I know the ICCC has also had special events just geared to women entrepreneurs. And really another great example of the way that you connect our communities to the global marketplace. And so I want to say thank you for being that premier voice for the Indo-Canadian business community right across Canada. And as was said, I have had the wonderful opportunity, it was actually 3 business missions to participate in India back in as early as 2012, 2013, and the latest being in 2016. And an honor for me actually on 2 of those occasions to attend the Pravasi conference, which I was just thoroughly impressed to see the diaspora from around the world come back, not only in supporting and helping the progress of India, but also ensuring that that connection worldwide, again, would support the Indo-business community to be successful wherever they're firmly planted around the globe. So truly, you're really to be congratulated for the great work. And I'm so happy that Minister Mary Ng is here, and you might discover in a minute or 2, once I finish talking, that the minister has a cold. So, you know, sometimes it's not unheard of for a political representative to say, unfortunately, I can't attend this afternoon. But she made the commitment to be here despite the fact fighting a cold in the middle of the summer. Hopefully it's the middle of the summer because we want this weather to continue for the next couple of months. And thank her. And I will actually highlight just some of the key initiatives that Minister Ng has been involved in. And I have to say we're fortunate to have her as a local representative here in the city of Markham as our local MP. But I have to tell you that the business community, in particular women, but the business community as a whole is very fortunate to have someone like Mary Ng with her passion and her commitment and her support to ensure that business people are successful, that they get the support that they need, because she recognizes that the only way we do have economic prosperity is with business people being successful. And I will highlight a couple of things that have happened most recently to just demonstrate that commitment. So I thank you, despite your cold. Had I known, I would have sat over there, but I still appreciate the fact that you're here, Minister.
So you know I'm sorry.
And I want to just make special mention as well to Christina Kakaflikas from our Economic Development Department, and thank her as well. I talk about a relationship that we have with the ICCC, and really Christina has been at the center of developing that relationship between the city of Markham, and today is another fine example, and I thank her for her commitments in helping put this together as well, and playing host, at least in terms of a facility. I really appreciate the support that is given. And I think we all know, whether you're a small business, a medium-sized business, or a large corporation, it is important more than ever today to come together, to learn from each other, to hear from experts, to share experiences. The world has become, in many respects, a lot smaller place, and yet, as much as we are connected through technology, sometimes there are gaps in the support that entrepreneurs can get. And it's symposiums like this where you can hear experts, and I'll try to shorten this up a bit so we can get to the panel, but to hear the experts, to hear their advice, to hear the experience out there for entrepreneurs to be able to ask questions and get that firsthand, that experience is invaluable. And you know, we tend to forget entrepreneurs are brave people on so many fronts, but we tend to forget sometimes that they are quite often working alone or in very small organizations. And so the luxury that other organizations have to walk down the hall and get the advice of your legal counsel, walk down another hall and talk to your HR department, is not something entrepreneurs have easy access to. So it is a real challenge. And I have to go back, I think it was early this morning, just checking my LinkedIn account. There's an article that's been written about by a young woman who, and I want to go back and read the article, but she talks about the burnout that she had as an entrepreneur, and again, that inability to get the level of support as someone who's out there, you know, brave person, out, wants to be successful, does all the right things, and yet recognizing that it begins to affect people even at that level if they don't get the support that they need. Now in the city of Markham, as Minister Ng knows, I take great pride in the fact that the city of Markham is the second largest IT hub in all of Canada. And I think other jurisdictions in the province and in the country have done a marvelous job at the marketing side of it, and they do have lots of good things to talk about. But in terms of the magnitude of the number of companies and the employees in the IT sector, we far outpace other jurisdictions in the province of Ontario. That being said, and we also have many head offices of multinational companies. That being said, the city of Markham is really no different than many other communities across Canada. The bulk of our employment, the largest number of businesses in our community, the people that are creating those jobs, paying those taxes, contributing to the community, are the SMEs. So yes, we're proud to have those big IT corporations here. Yes, we're proud of the multinationals. And they need to be here because they also feed on that network and supply chain that allow some of the SMEs to be successful. But to give you a sense, in the city of Markham, there's over 10,000, almost 1,800 small businesses in the city of Markham that generate close to 177,000 jobs in this community, with an employment growth of 2% year over year. So almost over 3,400 jobs in addition from 2017 to 2018. So I can tell you, I go to a lot of business events. The vast majority are SME events. It could be a ribbon cutting, the celebration of that firm that just opened up, to that company that now is expanding and becoming a little larger and being more successful. I recognize the value of small businesses and what they mean to a community, as does the rest of our council. And so I'm very proud that in this community, we've had the lowest tax increase, average tax increase, for the last 12 years in a row. And for those of you that live in Markham, I hope you can also attest that it also means you don't get a diminished level of service. You actually get a higher level of service, and all you need to do is walk into the community centers or be part of the community to recognize that. So it's not at the expense of providing services to our community. And I'll tell you, as much as that is done to try and attract some of those multinational corporations, we know that the largest impact of having low industrial taxes, it really means a lot to the SMEs. It's critical for them when they're deciding about where to establish their business.
Thank you for all of your work, and thank you for your leadership. I wasn't able to attend the early days, but I've certainly wanted to, want one of those coveted tickets to the Bollywood Awards that is the ICCC. And while I haven't had the opportunity to join a mission with the ICCC, I'm no stranger to working and doing business with India, having done trade missions in my previous life to India and created a wonderful bridge between startups here in Canada and that in India. And to see that dynamism is really great, and thank you so much for the leadership that you provide at the ICCC. And to all of the board members, current and past, thank you for being here today. It was wonderful to be able to meet with all of you a little earlier and to have a discussion about the work that you are doing now, and even more importantly, the work that you are doing heading into the future of how to provide the best service and the best bridge, if you will, to Canadian companies. And that bridge not only between Canada and India, but indeed that bridge that helps Canadian companies grow into that global marketplace. So thank you so much for that. So like so many people here in Canada, and certainly here in our community in Markham, we're immigrants. I came to Canada as a young person with my own parents and come from a small business family. And when we first came to Canada, you're absolutely right, it was the story is as common to me as it is to so many other small business owners, particularly small business owners that come from other parts of the world. You know, to be able to create your own venture or your own business was sometimes something that you really wanted to do, but most of the time it was absolutely out of need and necessity. It was need and necessity to create your own Canadian experience, if you will. So I always say that I've been proud to grow up in a family that, you know, where I worked in a small business, so I really do understand some of the challenges and the hard work that it really takes to make a go of a small business. As proud as I am of that journey, I am also very proud to be Canada's Minister for Small Business and Export Promotion. The Prime Minister often tells us this. He tells us about how important small businesses are to the Canadian economy and indeed to Canadian society. 98% of our businesses are small businesses, 99% are small and medium. So they employ a vast number of Canadians. So you really are the backbone of the Canadian economy, and it is this Canadian economy and how well we do in the Canadian economy that is fueling what we also get to enjoy in Canada and in Canadian society. And we are strong because of the diversity, and we are strong because of all of our contributions. And we must also remember that this prosperity that we get to enjoy in the economy, we mustn't forget the prosperity that needs to be shared, and that our good quality of life is it's really linked to you know, to the leadership that our business community provides, but it actually contributes to the well-being of so many of us in a life that we enjoy here in Canada. It is why I am particularly proud to head this file. It's a file where our government has made a choice, a very deliberate choice, to focus on small businesses so that we are investing in our small businesses and in the success and in your success. It's why we are, it's why I have the file as I do, to make sure that I call it no wrong door. The Mayor talks about an environment here in Markham where so many parts are working together. So whether it is the small business center, you know, that is located at IBM, or it is the Economic Development Office, it is this kind of no wrong door approach that we are taking at the federal government to make sure that you are indeed supported and that you are aware of the various supports and investments that we have made on your behalf. So some of the things that we have done, I often say my job is to help you start up, scale up, and access new markets, and to make it competitive for you to do business. We have lowered the small business tax rate. The Mayor talks about the competitiveness of low taxes here without compromising service in Markham. Well, the Canadian government has lowered the small business tax rate from 11% to 9%. It's one of the lowest now in the world, helping our businesses to become even more competitive so that they have extra money to be able to reinvest in their business. We're also working with banks to make sure, and credit card companies, to make sure that those of you who operate businesses where your customers pay by credit card, that the fees that are charged are a bit more competitive for you, lower for you, and that small businesses are not getting a much higher rate than big businesses just because of the inability to be able to negotiate for that kind of rate. So the federal government has done that on your behalf and has encouraged, and indeed those fees are now going to be lower for small businesses. We've also made some changes to our tax laws so that we are helping businesses to make the kind of investments that they tell us they want to make their businesses more productive, more innovative. So providing for accelerated capital write-off so that you can write off a larger share of the investments you make in your company, in your business, in the year that you make those investments. Really important, because businesses asked us for this, and businesses that are focused on clean tech or in processing, those are 100% write-off in the year that you make that investment. And I know a lot of businesses here in Markham are absolutely going to be able to take advantage of that. We've also been very attentive to making sure that there aren't regulatory burdens or red tape that gets in the way of businesses being competitive or successful. We've cut over 400 regulations. We've cut more in the last 3.5 years than the decade before. Why is this important? When we travel internationally, bar none, the Canadian reputation is absolutely up there. We're known for integrity, we're known for high quality, we're known for safe products. Well, part of the reason that is because we have good regulation. But one of my colleagues, who's the former president of the Treasury Board, says, you know what we always have to do? You can't be Blockbuster in a Netflix world. So we always have to make sure that we stay up to date and that there aren't regulatory burdens that are in your way. And the one thing I want to maybe just spend just a little bit of time to talk about is where we are very focused and investing in Canadian businesses, and that is in their growth. And I think that ICCC is, has done so much really good work in this area, and I think that there's more work to be done. And this is around helping businesses grow and to grow through exporting. Let me just give you sort of what the picture looks like around Canadian businesses and how well we do around growing into the global marketplace. So 98% of our businesses are small businesses, 99% are small and medium-sized businesses, only 12% today export. And of that 12%, 70% goes to one market, which is the US. Don't get me wrong, the US is our largest trading partner. They're an important friend and neighbor. We will continue to work closely with the US, and we've just secured access for our Canadian businesses by successfully renegotiating the new NAFTA with the US and Mexico. But Canada also has access to 60% of the world's economy. We have access to over 50 countries through 14 trade agreements. These are trade agreements like with the European Union through CETA, with 12 Pacific Rim countries like Japan, Singapore, Australia, Vietnam, just to name a few, in the Pacific Rim through the CPTPP. We also have bilateral trade agreements with countries like South Korea, or Israel, or Ukraine, or Chile. The point is that Canada, right now, has access to 60% of the world's economy. And yet, only 12% of our businesses are exporting, and 70% of that is going into one market. There's not a business that I have met yet that does not like one thing: customers. You want customers. You want to grow. You want to grow into the global marketplace because these trade agreements, the ones we already have in our books, gives Canadian businesses access, preferential access to 1.5 billion customers in the global marketplace. Now, we don't have to just do business with countries that we have trade agreements with. There are all kinds of other arrangements and agreements and working relationships that we have with countries such as India. So businesses, Canadian businesses are growing and they are doing business abroad. So the Prime Minister has made a commitment to focus our government so that we are supporting our businesses in not only starting but growing into the international marketplace through a trade diversification strategy. It's a $1.1 billion investment to help our Canadian companies to become more export ready so that we can grow and that we can grow into the international marketplace. And the goal that the Prime Minister has set out for Canadian businesses, led by myself and the Minister for Trade Diversification, is to grow Canadian exports by 50% by 2025.
Hello and good afternoon to all the viewers of Voice TV. We are very excited to come here for the symposium. A lot of business opportunities, chance to meet a lot of people. I believe we will have good business here. Thank you.
And I'm product specialist in CIBC. I look after marketing of CIBC's global money transfer. We are at this event, the Small Business Symposium of ICCC, And we are promoting our global money transfer service for business at this event. This is a new service which has been launched by CIBC for sending money abroad for small business.
In attendance, we will be having the Mayor of Markham, Frank Scarpiti, as well as the Federal Minister, Mary Eng. It is going to be a full house. We're expecting the program to start at 3 o'clock with 2 panel discussions moderated.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Today is one of the most important days for the Chamber, and as every year we do that, we have brought the SME Expo happening right in the city of Markham, which is in the East End. Now, Canada shows that we have diversity, Canada shows that we have business, and the main stronghold for any community to move forward, any businesses to move forward is the SME. And Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce has always been the market leader in that.
This is a great initiative by the Chamber. Basically, that's what Chamber is supposed to do, wherein Chamber is bringing the small business SME sector together and putting this event there where the business persons can come to know about the small business, the latest development in the business, and it's great to see that the Markham, city of Markham and the Mayor Frank Scarpiti has kindly consented to attend along with the Minister of Small Business. They will be the keynote speakers and would be talking about the small business.